It's time to relive great moments with former Cowboys.
Eddie, something with the all-time great.
You know, that's one of the great things in having the opportunity to coach here at Oklahoma State was the fact that you had such great people.
It's time for Where Are They Now on Triple Play Sports Radio.
John Farrell, former Cowboy pitcher back in the early 80s.
And, you know, mostly putting up with me, I guess, after, chasing everybody around, chasing us around the country.
Where Are They Now? Our weekly talk with former Oklahoma State athletic coaches, players, and personnel.
Desmond Mason, former All-American player here at Oklahoma State.
So today, that's what I spend most of my days doing. For the most part is, in the studio trying to paint and trying to create, and I enjoy doing that.
It's like catching up with an old friend every Wednesday.
Boy, do I feel old today, as I always do on a Wednesday when we bring back some of these former athletes. We're talking with Houston.
Sure did. Had a great time. That was of course, my mom and dad went to school there. My brother, Dickie, as you mentioned, went to school there. And, of course, we both met our wives right there in Stillwater, Oklahoma.
Now your host, ready to take a stroll down memory lane, here is Tom Dorado.
Well, thank you very much. Welcome to another edition of Where Are They Now? Earlier this week, I sat down with Stillwater's own Matt Holliday on TV 31's Out of Bounds. We covered a number of topics with the 7-time Major League Baseball All-Star. He had some great takes on his return, his storybook return, I might add, to the Rockies late last season, whether there might be a similar option for him again this year, how much he loves being a full-time dad, and yes, we even discussed Kyler Murray. Here's Matt. Joining us now is Stillwater's own Matt Holliday, and as we've been previewing here, Matt joining us here on the show, and I know you don't want to hear this, but it's hard for me to believe this is the little kid my daughter used to babysit back in the day, you and your brother. Now that you're all grown guys, you have your own kids. Since it's going to snow today, I thought it'd be great to talk baseball. That's just a great time to talk. But glad you joined us. Let's start with last year's story. Kind of take us behind the scenes on how you actually got back into the game when a lot of us thought, well, he's not playing anywhere, so maybe he's retired.
Well, it's one of those things where at this point in my life and in my career, I'm in a spot where I'm looking for a good opportunity in a good place and something that I care about. I have 4 kids and being home and being dad is top priority, but I'm still available to the right situation, and that was kind of the situation last year. I was looking for the right spot, and nothing sort of came my way for the first few months. And come July, I got a call from Jeff Bridich early July, the Rockies general manager, and he asked me if I was interested. They were looking for a right-hand hitter, somebody that could fill a couple of different roles, and I said, shoot, let's go for it. So basically, the next day I was on a plane to Grand Junction, Colorado, and spent about a week there, mostly practice, played 1 game, and then on to Albuquerque, the AAA affiliate, and then played, I don't know, probably 2 weeks there, maybe a little less. I don't remember exactly, but played really well and got an opportunity to join the Rockies in I think it was late July, or maybe late August, and had a lot of fun. It was a really good team. I enjoyed it, and it just kind of happened really fast. And like I said, I was just kind of looking for the opportunity and the chance to go back to Colorado where I started and play with some guys that I'd been friends with, and on a team that I thought had a chance to win the World Series. Was exciting to me, and as a family we just kind of road tripped it, summer vacation, and it was fun. I got a chance to play in, like I said, low level minor leagues for a while with some guys that could have been my kids, some 18-year-olds, and kind of brought me back to when I was 18 and starting my career. So I really enjoyed a lot of different aspects of it, but it was a good time.
Now, I think you're going to say this about this year as well. I mean, that wasn't the only call you got last year, and when you've played as long as you have and you've had the career you've had, I guess you can be choosy as to where you want to go. But you keep yourself in great shape. I mean, take a look. This guy's go play right now. So I guess in the back of your mind, there was always a chance that you'd come back and play last year?
Yeah, I wanted to leave the door open. I don't really like the word retire because, in fact, I probably when I'm done playing, I just won't play anymore. I'm not a big for me, it's just a word like I'm only 39 years old. I don't want to use the word retire or anything. But I think I know I can still play, and it's just it would take the right opportunity again for me to leave my family. Jackson's a freshman in high school. The kids are getting older. It's starting to be their baseball is important and important to them, and it's about to reverse roles where I'm the supporter that they've been supporting me all these years, and so it's going to be my chance to get the chance to try to support what they want to do and their passions in life. And I think right now baseball's one of them, which is fun for me.
This is not you, but I imagine we could probably pick out 3 or 4 names in major leagues right now who would fit in this category. You could have big time somebody and said, "All right, I'll join you, but I'm not going. I'm not going to go to the minor leagues and play. I mean, if you want me, where's my locker?" You didn't do that.
Yeah, I knew even you start up in July. I mean, I missed obviously all spring training, and so I knew that I needed some game action to be ready. And like I said, I have a good relationship with the Rockies and Jeff, and he was honest with me. I was honest with him, and like I said, I really enjoyed the part about going to the minor leagues and getting the chance to help and talk to young guys and maybe help them with things that I learned, maybe expedite their process a little bit. And my boys were with me, and they got to go out on the field, and they sat in the dugout during the games and took batting practice with the team and played video games with the guys. And so all in all, it was a really fun experience. Grand Junction, Colorado is a great place, and they took really good care of us. And then obviously Albuquerque the same. So I wanted it to be very authentic. If they gave me a chance, I wanted to earn the chance to play in for Colorado. I knew they were a really good team, and I don't ever want anything given to me. I wanted to show them that I could contribute and contribute at a high level. And I kind of liked the challenge, and it was enjoyable.
You're probably never too old to have the goosebumps you must have had when you came back to Colorado and that first game out there. I mean, I remember because I watched it, standing ovation, the fans welcomed you back. How did you feel?
It was great. I had a lot of excitement and anticipation going into that first game back. And I think a lot of that came from sort of the unknown of not knowing if I was going to play again, of not knowing if trying to earn my way back up there. I think that built the anticipation and the excitement for that first game and sort of what I thought it would be like, and it was really cool in the way they welcomed me back, like you said, and the standing ovation. And then it's funny, the next series obviously is against the Cardinals, the team that I played
ironically,
for a long time. So and they travel really well. There's Cardinal fans all over the country. So really a special 4 or 5 day period right there of the first game back against the Padres, and then the weekend series against the Cardinals, and a lot of my old friends and tremendous fans on both sides that I've really appreciated the way that they treated me.
You spent a long time in St. Louis, 2009 through 2016, had great success, all kinds of honors, which you're not going to go into because you're too modest. But when you left, and you understand better than anybody, being in the league as long as you have, there's a business side to everything. When you finally came to grips with the fact that I'm not coming back here, maybe they don't want me back here, how did that work?
It's one of those things where you start to see, I don't know, you understand that at this point, or at that point, it looked like, it was probably going to go in different directions. As much as I wanted to stay there at least another year, I kind of got the feeling that, after getting hurt and them kind of having some young outfielders that they were ready to get a look at, and I just knew the fit was kind of coming to an end. And talking to Mo, the general manager for the Cardinals, he and I are good friends and have known each other obviously for a long time. I was very candid with him, and he was candid with me, and I just wanted the opportunity to thank the people before, so the season ends, you go off your own separate ways, and then you get a call and says, hey, we're not picking up your option. And then you never really get the same opportunity to thank a lot of the people that you spent the last 7 years of your life with, and the fans included. While I wasn't looking for an opportunity to play again because I had a broken thumb and hadn't had any at-bats, and the team was still in contention, Mike was insistent on getting me another opportunity to go out there and take an at bat in front of the fans, and it was just kind of a surreal deal. Where
What was that like?
It was honestly, I when he told me they were activating me and that they'd like to get me an at bat, I thought, well, the game, as long as it's close, I probably won't get one because the Cardinals were still in the playoff hunt. But at I think it was 7-2 or in the seventh inning, and he called my name and said, "You're hitting." I was a little surprised, and like I said, I'd been coming off of a broken thumb. It was still very sore, and I had been trying to get back. I even had a surgery to see if I could get back earlier, and so I went up there, and immediately it's 0-2 before I can barely even step in the box. I'm thinking, man, just don't strike out, and Lord willing, a guy threw me a curveball and hit it over the fence in right field. And
what a way! I mean, you can't write a story like that.
It was a really cool experience, and then to have Yachty and Waino and Matt Carpenter sort of waiting for me in the dugout, and Mike and all those people that you build relationships with when you play together that long was a really cool moment that I'll take with me forever, and it was really cool. I mean, it was a really great ending to a great chapter in my baseball career and in my life.
You had that with the storybook ending out there, I say ending, at Colorado, where you returned to your former place, and they welcome you the same way. Guys like you, I mean, not many guys like you have storybook stories to come and tell us about. I mean, it worked out about as well as it could. Now, Colorado, being the business side, I mean, there's no strings attached, right? You're not there right now.
Mm-hmm. Correct, yeah. I mean, it was just a 1-year contract, okay. and so I'm like I said, like same situation as last year, where if nothing comes in my way, I'm content with being a dad and doing some things and helping out with Jackson's team. And
so the door's still open though, if the right call comes.
Yeah, I think so. It's a lot like last year. I think in the right scenario with the right organization, I think that I could still contribute to a team at a high level, but. If nothing, like I said, if nothing comes up, then I'm good.
You still, without letting us know who the calls are coming from, I assume you've already got some, right, that you have to ponder?
Yeah, there's a couple teams that have reached out just to gauge interest, and they weren't particular teams that I feel like it's worth it for me to sort of leave the family and go and do the spring training and be away, and so. No disrespect to any teams, but there's only a few that I would consider at this point.
And I guess it's just a bad year because you got sick and you were out of the lineup. You had the viral situation going on. But part of a year in New York with the Yankees, what was that like?
It was cool. It was really for me as a baseball person and somebody that loves the game, the history of the game, to play for the Yankees and. To play in New York was a lot of fun, and got off to a really good start and was playing really well, and like you said, I got sick, but it was logistically it's a bit of a nightmare coming from Stillwater, Oklahoma, getting in and out of the stadium and getting to and from the airports and trying to get to the ballpark every day, and those sort of things are not my favorite, but as far as the atmosphere and playing the game and the Yankee Stadium and the
pinstripes,
and the passion for baseball is really cool, and really great group of guys too. I really enjoyed. My teammates were awesome, and a lot of young guys that I really enjoyed being around. So, all in all, a really interesting, cool experience.
Well, you see him around a lot. If you go to Oklahoma State Cowboy basketball, for sure you see him sitting down there with his kids. We're going to find out what Matt's doing right now and what he anticipates he'll be doing in the next couple of weeks with Stillwater's own Matt Holliday. And we kind of covered a great story last year, and maybe it becomes an even better story when he finally does, quote, retire and quits playing. I got to ask you, in terms of what you're doing immediately now, I mean, you're around your brother's baseball team a lot, and you can bring a lot of that resource to those kids. So is that pretty much the focus as we speak today?
Yeah, I mean, I spend time over there, and then I spend time with Jackson. My oldest is on the high school baseball team, and so I venture over there later in the afternoon, and just hang out and try to be available if anybody there's that thing when you're not really an official coach where you don't want to step on toes or be something that you're not. And so, but I feel like that. Obviously, Josh and I are very close, and he doesn't mind me being around, and so I like to be around and watch and help out wherever I can. And if guys want to ask questions or just talk the game, I'm always available. But it's been fun. I've enjoyed getting to know those guys, and it makes watching the game and rooting for them that much more.
Do you get the occasional question from some youngster?
Yeah.
What do I do here?
Yeah, it's cool. A lot of interaction, and I've known some of them longer than others.
Right.
Obviously, Dylan Gardner, and I've known him and his family for a long time. And some of the older guys on the team, Colin Simpson and Boone, and some of these guys I've been around more than others. So there's a comfort level with some of them that we can just say, hey, well, what are you thinking here, or why are you doing this, and so it's been cool. It's been cool to get a chance to be around them. Like I said, good young men, and get to know them as people, and even mentor them a little bit on life skills that I've experienced. So I enjoy that, and then Jackson obviously is entering into his baseball career and getting a chance to be around Jimmy and his group, and has been enjoyable as well, and getting a chance to be around the high school age kids.
What kind of analysis do you give guys? Do you push it, or you wait for somebody to come to you and say, what do you think? What kind of a role do you play there?
I think for me, I always want to watch and see what kids are doing. Mm-hmm. And then I like to, if they want to interact, I'll ask them why they're doing certain things that they're doing, and let them explain to it, and then say, well, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about that? And sometimes kids are more receptive to them bringing it to the table, which I'm totally cool with as well. So I'm not trying to push anything on anybody. I think there's a lot of ways to do this. The game is full of guys that do things differently. And so I don't know it all, but I've experienced a lot. So it's been, I just try to be available and try to be around, and I just like to enjoy watching. And my brother is a really good hitting coach and knows a lot about hitting, and so I enjoy just listening to him. And if I've got something to add, he's got no trouble with that.
Yeah, I remember one thing you said you've been on this several times on the show, and it stuck with me. And I wonder how you kind of relate this to the kids now, because there's so much video now. I mean, they know what you're doing before you ever do it. But you made a comment about you were at the point of your career the last time you were on that, I can look at video, I can see what the pitcher's got, but I have to get in the box to make that judgment myself. How do you get that across the kids now?
Yeah, I think that's something where, like you said, you can watch all the video you want, but until you see the guy spin and how tight it is, or on his slider, or the movement on his fastball, like it's good information for me to know the velocity maybe and his pitch sequence. What's his go-to pitch. Mm-hmm. But outside of that, it's about competition and getting in the box and figuring out how I'm going to beat him. And I think that if you put too much stock into video and sort of get away from the competitive element, which is what it comes down to, the competition between you and him, I think that sometimes you can get bogged down with too much information and you start to think and guess, and in your mind, you're in between pitches. You're late on the fastball and out front of the off-speed pitch because you're not on either one. And so that's something that you try to help those guys with. And sometimes you can tell when they're swinging at bad pitches or they're fouling back late on fastballs. You can tell they're kind of in between. They have that breaking ball in the back of their mind. They're not totally sold out to being ready for the fastball. So just trying to help them with approach, stuff like that I've learned, obviously, through trial and error. It's as you see it more and more, you can spot when a guy is off, in his mind, as opposed to just a mechanical flaw.
This could have been you a number of years ago, and you're not in a position to make any decisions for Kyler Murray, but, you could have done this football thing when you came out of high school. In his situation, it's great to have options like that. You think from a distance, he's doing what he wants to do? Is he going the right direction?
I think the one thing that I would say is whatever he enjoys practicing more, because it's going to be a grind either way. Like, to be an NFL quarterback, you got to put in the time, and I wouldn't know much about that other than I know those guys work extremely hard at watching film and all the things that go into being a professional athlete at the highest level at the most important position. And then at the same thing with baseball. I mean, he's very inexperienced for a junior in college. While he had a pretty good season last year at OU, he hadn't played in a while, and so he doesn't have a ton of built up at bats to know exactly how close he is to the major leagues. In my opinion, my advice, if anybody ever wanted it, or if he wanted it, or anybody wanted it, would be, what are you passionate about practicing? Because that's what's going to take. It's going to take hours and hours and hours of perfecting, or not perfecting, but to hone in on a craft that you can repeat at a high level. That's what I would pick. And I think, had he not won the Heisman and had he not had the success that he had in football, it would have been an easier decision. Obviously, he signed with the A's, and this was all pre him being a starting quarterback and winning the Heisman and being and Baker Mayfield having the success that he's had in the NFL. So now NFL teams are looking at him differently because of the success that Baker had. And so I think, had he walked away from football last year, that he could have made it in baseball and done well. But I think it's for him, now that he's experienced all that he's experienced, to go back to the minor leagues and ride the buses and grind and go 0 for 15 in the middle of nowhere and be riding a bus overnight the next night and breaking down on a bus. Things that happen in the minor leagues. I think it would be hard. I think he would question, what am I doing? And I could be playing in the NFL on Sundays in front of 80,000 people and riding on charter planes. And, so I think the success that he's had will make it difficult, or would make it difficult, if he chose baseball.
I suspect the answer is no, but I don't know for sure. So I'm going to ask you, any private moments during the last 15, 20 years you thought, what if I had taken football and gone that direction? What might have happened? Not regrets, but interesting, exciting moments that maybe I would have been here instead of here?
Yeah, I mean, I think especially early when you're closer to it. I mean, as you get further and further away from football and from your experience, I think that those are just, you just have liked the game. And I think, but, the first 4, 5, 6 years, like I said, in the minor leagues, when you're traveling and you're riding the buses and it's hard and you're not doing well, you start to think, well, should I be doing something else? Yeah. And obviously for me, that something else would have been football. Other guys maybe other things, but you start to question what you're doing. I think at times in human nature, when things aren't going the way you had hoped and planned, you start questioning whether you're doing the right thing. And I think that every athlete that has a two-sport option would do that. But I think you also then have to reflect on all the hard work you've put in that sport, and you don't want to throw all that away, so to speak, to chase another very difficult opportunity as well. So while I did have a lot of those thoughts in the minor leagues at times, I always came back to the fact that I knew I had the ability. It was just trying to put the pieces together and get that experience and sort of gain that knowledge to help me get to the major leagues.
Did that crossroads, if there was one, did that come in Tulsa? Did you have one of those moments?
That was part of it. I mean, like I said, pretty much from the 18, 19 years old through making it to the major leagues, every time you have a slump, you start to think, well, I could always go back and do this. And as Tulsa, I guess I was probably 22 or 3. I think you start to get to the point where you got to pick one way or the other. And so I mean, I think maybe in Tulsa a little bit, but more probably earlier than that.
You didn't play in Reynolds Stadium, but you might as well, because you hung out there seemingly every day of your life, you and Josh running around. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you your reaction. You already got the new logo on your deal there. This is it. This is the last year. We'll have a lot of things going on throughout the entire season. How do you feel? A little nostalgic to know that, we need to go to this other stadium, but we're leaving this one?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's time. I think especially when you start to see the new stadium going up and all the cool amenities, and you start to see what it's going to be like. I mean, obviously, there's been a lot of good memories for me personally, and for the program, and for the school, and a lot of really good ball players have come through there and played, and a lot of fun nights, and a lot of fun afternoons, and a lot of really cool memories, and like any other old building, I mean, eventually you've got to move on. New Yankee Stadium, you had old Yankee Stadium. Mm-hmm. There's never been more history than any stadium probably than that one. But at some point it gets to the point where it's time to move on, and it'll help recruiting, and it'll help develop players, and just all the cool things that they've built into that new stadium is going to make for a really, really cool experience for fans and for players, and so that part of it's really exciting, and I think it'll be cool to kind of look back, and this season they have a lot of cool stuff planned, like you said, to kind of remember the past and bridge it into the new stadium.
Last thing, you mentioned your family. You're certainly knee-deep in that, your kids, being around Josh and his family, but I don't think you can lessen the importance and the great feeling that you have mom and dad are here as well. I mean, this kind of brings it full circle for you, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's been really, really good for us to be around family, and having sort of been here and there and everywhere in the last 20 years, it's been kind of cool to just get the chance to on a daily basis spend time with your brother and my parents, and get a chance for them to watch the kids and be around the kids, and for them to really know their grandkids has been pretty exciting. So we're enjoying it, and getting a chance to really know Josh's kids, and those are the things that you can't replace.
Matt, I appreciate you, bud.
Yeah, no problem.
Hey, we got covered a lot of things, and who knows, next time we talk to you, maybe on the radio side, we'll be figuring out where he's headed, what destination. You never want to say never with this guy. Well, that'll do it for this week's Where Are They Now? Thanks to Matt for spending some time with us. We'll be back tomorrow at 4 for another fun-packed edition of Hoops Thursday. Until then, have a good night.